Text Expander from Smile is supporting this edition of MacVoices. Text Expander can help you be more productive in every single application on your Mac. Find out how at textexpander.com. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it had to happen. It's just a matter of time. Anybody that does streaming, sooner or later, is going to get caught, and we got caught this time. For some reason, when we tried to do MacVoices Live this time around, we could not get Zoom and Facebook to talk to each other. Not sure if it's Zoom's fault, not sure if it's Facebook's fault, but at the end of the day, we just couldn't get it to work. But we had Bob, Dr. LeVitus, as our featured guest. We had a great panel already in place, and so we just went ahead and did it not live, knowing that we'd be able to release it here for you now. So with that, I'm just going to turn Bob and the panel loose, and we start by talking about Bob's new book, or the new edition of his book, Take Control of GarageBand. I remember when I played with GarageBand, and you know, you're right, Bob. I mean, it's an incredible time suck. But just being amazed that A, Apple gives this program away, and B, the quality of the instruments. And I don't know, what's the proper phrase? Are they recorded? Are they manufactured? They sampled? Whatever. I mean, there's not only is there an amazing number of them, but the quality of what you got back was absolutely incredible.
Yes, and as good as that is, if you use Logic Pro, you get all of that, and it's even better. Everything sounds even better. So, you know, Apple gives you the pretty good stuff for free. But if you want the really good stuff, you got to pay extra. Well, also, Logic Pro will let you record way more tracks on any Mac than GarageBand will. So let's say GarageBand, you get to about 12 or 14 tracks and it starts to bog down. And you start to see little warnings that it couldn't keep up, and things get choppy. With Logic Pro, you could probably get to about 30 tracks before you started to see that on the same Mac. So it's Logic Pro is optimized much better for bigger projects. So I think they get you sucked in with GarageBand, and then you get a project that's got too many tracks, and you call tech support, and they go, "Oh yeah, well, we have the solution to that. It's called Logic Pro, and it costs $199, but it's worth it."
Well, that's it. I mean, I'm not going to pay $199 to play with something, but
but there's a 3-month trial now.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, for that too. And Final Cut Pro, exactly. I've been telling people, hey, you got nothing to do during the lockdown. Learn a new program. Learn Logic Pro. Learn Final Cut Pro.
They want to get you hooked.
Well, of course they do.
That's why I literally did not download it, because I did not want to get hooked in these two programs. So.
Well, and Final Cut's really is as addicting as GarageBand is. Final Cut's even worse.
Because you don't have to have any talent there. I mean, if
you've seen so much TV, you know, you kind of know how to do that.
Yeah, or at least you have some idea of some of the metaphors. If you're not a musician, you need to learn or play with GarageBand to see what it can do. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, because it's not that hard to start getting something that satisfies that, hey, I did that. You know, I took that and I made this sound and I tweaked this and I changed that and I added this instrument, and all of a sudden it's mine. Even though it's just loops, it's still mine.
Exactly. There's a sense of accomplishment when you add music that you created to a project, rather than just finding music and using it.
Yeah.
Hey Bob, what do the pros like use? What do like the real pros use for this stuff? Is it Logic?
I use Logic Pro for this. Yeah, I mean, for real recording, only because it'll let me do more before it bogs down. I use GarageBand for quick and dirty. I mean, if I'm just like trying to bang out a guitar part, I'll do it in GarageBand, because I can always use that. If it's a great part and I want to do more with it, I can import it into Logic Pro and use it there.
What about like the Lady Gagas and like the real, I mean, like
Logic Pro or Pro Tools? A lot of them are still using Pro Tools.
Cool.
But you'd be surprised how many records you hear today were produced on Apple laptops. You know, not in a studio, but using Logic Pro or Pro Tools or even GarageBand. You'd be surprised how much stuff that gets released these days isn't recorded in $1,000 million studio.
Very
Well,
cool.
that's just kind of the point. Just like with Final Cut, I mean, what you can put in your Mac now would have cost somebody to put the studio together or the equipment and all that. God knows how much money.
GarageBand has got $1 million worth of gear bundled together. I mean, if you were to go out and build a studio with everything that's in GarageBand, you'd spend $1 million or more.
Yeah, that's the staggering part. And for most of us, that's more than enough to play with and satisfy our creative urges if we have the talent or the time or both. And even if you don't have the talent or the time, you still can play with it and get a lot of satisfaction.
Well, if you want another example of it, you should look at the Macworld All-Star Band video, which was recorded in 7 different cities in Logic Pro and then combined and made into a video. I mean, there's a bunch of guys that are at best semi-professional musicians and at worst, like me, not musicians at all. No, seriously though, we all did our parts, and when you stitch it all together, I thought it came out pretty good.
Came out great. Wally did a wonderful job editing.
Oh man, Wally
and Dave's mix.
Worthy Wally, Dave and Skylar, they are a team. His daughter, yes,
Yeah, his daughter.
and they did a great job. But yeah, I mean, if you want to see what a bunch of guys that aren't professional studio musicians can do with Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro, yeah. MacWorldAllStarBand.com.
Yeah, well, and a little plug here on, I guess it's 3 or 4, maybe 5 editions of MacVoices Live ago.
Oh yeah,
we had not all of the Macworld All-Star Band people, but a whole lot of you here to talk about the production.
the
of that
ones who
video.
weren't contractually prohibited.
Yeah, and Skylar was here, and Wally was here, and that's a good listen. Because I love the way you guys just sort of took the show over and ran, and we're just talking back and forth. It kind of gave everyone a look into how this kind of thing gets done, because
Our creative process.
Well, and Bob, we're off on a little bit of a tangent, but I think it is important because we're all watching these lockdown videos that are being produced by professional artists, and you think, okay, how difficult can it be? Well, it's darn difficult when you're in different cities and trying to put down the different tracks, different instruments, different vocals, the whole bit. So that was
You'll notice that we haven't done a follow-up video yet. Not for lack of trying either. It's really hard.
Yeah, well, again, it's got to be. It's probably tough enough to do in the studio altogether, let alone separate. So let's wrap up the garage band part, because I want to make sure. So Bob, this book is out now, and
Yes.
it can be had at all the usual places.
So if you go to the URL that I sent you, where you download the free bonus material, there's also a link to buy the book at Amazon. So if you're interested, the one URL will handle all of your needs.
Okay. All right. So I ran across something today, and I want to throw this out to the whole group because it struck me, and we're going to try to avoid going down the Epic Games Apple Battle route, because we've done that now for a couple weeks, and it's constantly changing, and everybody has opinions on it. But the one thing that came out today as we recorded this, at least I saw it today, was Ridley Scott's comments about the ripoff they did of his 1984 commercial. And I'm really I don't know how many of you have seen it, and if you haven't, you can probably in the background here go and check it out.
Now, I saw Ridley Scott's comments.
Yeah,
and I thought, yeah, I see that. He said basically, well, that's a very technically accomplished ripoff, but the content was kind of I
think that's a direct quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody else see this?
And I agree.
Yeah.
No of it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I don't know about this whole thing. On one hand, maybe 30% is too much. Maybe it's not. But you're going to pay somebody something, and for them to do what they do, it's probably worth it. And that's my 2 cents. I think the Fortnite Epic people picked this fight on purpose. They timed it the way they timed it on purpose. They had the commercial ready to go. They're, ginning up social media to be on their side. And they knew the second they did it, they were going to get kicked out of the App Store. So they can't blame Apple. It's like, it's disingenuous to
They are
say
blaming Apple.
It's Apple's fault. Yeah, but they knew exactly what would happen if they did what they did, and they did it.
Oh.
So whose fault
Calculated.
is that? Whose fault is that?
It was all calculated.
And to take the 1984 video and do this parody. I mean, look, it's parody. Okay, I get it, but because of the way it was done, that was not
snarky. It was
well,
snarky,
but it was also not put together in iMovie and GarageBand in 10 minutes either. I mean, somebody spent a whole lot of time getting the look right and getting all the little, technical parts. So, and I was a little surprised that Ridley wasn't just a little more incensed over it.
Well, technically, it was a brilliant achievement, but it was like, but that's the only thing brilliant was the technical part. It's like the idea was kind of, I don't know,
Bad.
snarky.
Well,
Snarky in bad faith, in bad taste.
Yes, that's the way I came away with it. It's like, okay, this could have been a cute idea if it had been on a positive note, but the way you've done it and the time that you've done it.
No,
and
this
obviously,
is a campaign. Epic is conducting a campaign.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, I'm not sure there's not some validity to their point of view. But at the same time, I get the feeling most of the developers in the App Store are better off paying Apple 30% than they would be trying to make it on their own. Because they'd pay 30 or 50% for distribution. If they were distributing product elsewhere. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to say I don't have any respect for anyone that lines up with Epic, but it just strikes me as just, you said it, Bob. It's just the whole thing's in poor taste, and it's trolling, and it's all the bad things about social media kind of rolled into one.
And it's a campaign. It's not like this just happened. It's like they made this happen, and they're making all of the noise about it happen. And so, you can't look at it and go, oh. I mean, these guys, they brought it on themselves. And if they are losing $1 billion a day by not being in the iOS store, whose fault is that?
Just themselves.
I actually love the idea that you can sell $1 billion a day worth of nothing. They're selling made up stuff. Yeah, here, you want to buy some armor? You want to buy a weapon? They don't exist in real life, but you pay for them with real money. What a great scam. I wish I had thought of it.
MacVoices is supported by Smile, the makers of world-class software like Text Expander. Whether you are a team leader or a team member, odds are that you have been, and will be working from a remote location for some time to come. That makes consistency of communication with each other and with your customers more important than ever, but also more difficult than ever. Enter Text Expander. Text Expander from Smile not only saves time and money by automating words, sentences, paragraphs, or pages so that they can be summoned with just a few characters, it also introduces accuracy and consistency. Each time that snippet is used, it is exactly as created the first time. No individual variations, no typos because you got tired of typing the same thing over and over. That means that once deployed to your team, no matter where they are, no matter how often they use it, they will be using that snippet to respond to customer inquiries and creating documents with exactly what you intended, saving them time and making you look great. Invest a few seconds, literally a few seconds, in creating a Text Expander snippet and get paid back every single time you use it. And that can mount up to a lot of payments, since you will be using Text Expander multiple times an hour. Find out just how easy it can be to be more accurate and more productive by visiting smilesoftware.com/podcast right now. Try Text Expander for yourself and see some of the ways that a wide variety of businesses use Text Expander to be better. That's smilesoftware.com/podcast to see what Smile, the makers of world-class software, have to offer you and your business. Thanks to Smile for their ongoing support of MacVoices. David, did you see the video?
I did. Yeah, I thought it was just in bad taste. I was displeased with that whole thing. My complete opinion about Epic at this point is just, I have no respect for them at all. I mean, it was all calculated. I think it's a
calculated campaign.
Yeah.
That they're trying to make look like Apple beat them up. Apple is bullying them.
I don't think Apple's losing any sleep over it, and good luck to Epic if they'll continue on to do well with Fortnite.
Hey, they got PlayStation.
They got PlayStation, other platforms.
Xbox.
They'll be fine.
Brittany, how about you? Did you see the video?
Yeah, I snuck and watched it while we were on here.
Good.
But I watched it differently than I might have if you hadn't prompted with that question. I think it fits very well with their campaign for this and their image. They want to paint Apple as being now this big bad thing, and so they have the guy with his Apple cutout, and they're all video game people, and they look edgy and cool, and yeah, I think that fits with their branding a lot. This is somebody who's never played an Epic game, but it does feel a little bit like when there's a kid who makes a video and they're like, it's I'm doing that thing that the Simpsons did, and they don't realize that Simpsons was doing the thing that Citizen Kane did, and sort of they've lost the original the original intent and feeling and vibe with a little bit of immaturity. But it's still cute, and I pat my nephew on the head for doing something the Simpsons did. Does that make any sense? Like that sort of immaturity? But I think it works with what they were going for. Film student
it all seems so
response.
Calculated. It seems so calculated.
It is.
Yeah, but you know what?
Part of what irritates me is the whole thing feels so planned. It's like, we're going to do
this. It's a commercial.
Just their whole campaign.
Yeah, but Brittany, you bring up a really good point, and maybe a different perspective on it. And I'm not changing my opinion of Epic but just the approach with it. That I guess 1984, the commercial, not the book, but is sort of revered by Apple people because it was such a powerful message. It was so well done, and to see it made fun of in this fashion. And used, sort of to, it trivializes it, I guess, maybe is.
By the way,
best
The
way.
Simpsons did do a way better parody of the 1984 commercial.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, did they really?
Oh, yes.
I'm not a Simpsons
Wonderful.
guy, so
It's a great episode.
Okay. That's
Anyway,
it.
Sorry.
Warren, what? How about you? Are you falling in line with us, or do you have another angle on it?
I mean, we're Apple fans and we're Apple people, and the video was meant to annoy us and not to appeal to their
Base?
geographic. Yeah, because their geographic probably does not even know what it was referring to.
They weren't born when that commercial came up.
Exactly. So so it was specifically meant to annoy us, and that's what they wanted to do. They had other campaigns, I think, after that gave them free. What was it? They had a Fortnite battle that you could get free stuff if you played, and some of the free stuff was like anti-Apple stuff. I think it was.
Yeah.
So that
I wouldn't know.
Basically, when they talk to their people, it's basically saying, "Hey, we'll give you free stuff, and we're fighting with Apple, and if we win, then you won't have to pay as much money for your armor and stuff like that." And that's what
You'll
they
get more armor for your money.
Exactly, and and they're saying that we can't give you more stuff because Apple's taking it.
Right.
And
Their
that's what they're going for.
70% isn't good enough.
Right. So, I mean,
Billions and billions of dollars.
Warren, you're right. The whole intent was to be divisive, like many political campaigns out in the real world.
Oh boy,
Yes.
let's not go
We'll-
here.
we'll
No,
not
I
go
mean,
there.
you
But-
could pick any election year. Like, I'm not talking about anything current. Like, this is a tale as old as time. But it
Right.
was on purpose, stating things to divide people into two
Oh, yeah.
camps. And yeah, we're the old fuddy-duddies who like Apple, right? In their thing.
Right. But we like Apple, and I think, adults who maybe know of that commercial who aren't so into Apple probably don't care that much. I mean, it's basically, they don't understand it, but they know that it strikes, it strikes a dagger in the heart of us because you're making fun of something that we really care about. And, we like the company. We think they're ethical. We think they have morals. And, basically having this young juvenile company say that
That's
they've
making them $1 billion a day off
right.
of Apple's
They can
But-
get right off my virtual
user
lawn.
base.
But basically, it's a company, this young company that's saying that Apple's become the thing that they fought against in that commercial is basically what they're saying.
Yeah.
It is hurtful to people who don't feel that way.
Not to me.
Well, yeah.
And I didn't buy
I'm
my
rubber
first
and
Apple
you're
product
glue.
until 2008. I
Yeah,
I
me
was
neither.
alive for the
Yeah.
commercial, but not by a lot.
I kind of remember the commercial too, and
whatever.
But
Well,
I
the
think Ridley
commercial's
Scott.
part of history. You didn't have
I
to be
think
alive or
Right.
an Apple lover in 1984 to have heard of the commercial or seen it.
So Ridley Scott wasn't completely right. I think the message was valid and a good message for people who believe in that message. We don't, and we think it's meh. And he probably doesn't because he probably likes Apple in a sense too. But if you're a Fortnite fan, then the message was great. And if you understood
If
what
you're
they're saying.
Fortnite, the message is great. If you're Epic and you want to wage a war, which is a war of sentiment that they are waging on purpose, and it was intended to do that, and it probably has been divisive. Note how we're all still talking about it, and it's not
Right.
because there's been literally no other news.
But Apple's
it's
not gonna
big
back down. And so at some point, Epic is gonna have to say that we're losing $1 billion a day. I think
Yeah.
maybe we better go back to paying the 30%.
And they will. I mean,
Yeah,
they're holding
because
out, but
I'm
they will.
sure Apple isn't backing down, and Apple can afford it more than Epic can. I mean, they're worth $2 trillion plus.
Well,
Even-
okay, so I want to make a couple things clear. First of all, I want to thank Brittany for reminding us how old we all are, since she was barely alive when the commercial ran. But more important,
I had a computer. I remember.
but the reason I brought it up was Ridley's reaction, because I thought it was so interesting because his thing, technically brilliant, but the message was meh, and I between the lines, what I read was that he was sorry that technical prowess and expertise got wasted.
Wasted, right?
Such a trivial message.
I felt the same way.
Oh.
Like,
Gosh,
that's the
you
way.
took all the time and effort to do that, and it was meh content.
Yeah.
You could have done something great.
Yeah, and I think he would have been complimented by the parody with the right message. But as
If
it
it had
was,
been
it's like,
done right, if it didn't
Yeah.
feel so juvenile and I don't know, just-
trolling.
Yeah, trolling.
It is
Troll-like.
trolling. But
Yeah,
you
it
don't
is.
have to be clever to be divisive. Their goal was not to create great art. Their goal was to be divisive, and it was successful at that. It's not good.
All
but
right, let's stop talking about it. We shouldn't give them this ink.
Yeah,
They don't deserve it.
they don't deserve it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's probably true too.
I'm putting an
before we-
end to this.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up, yeah.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, apparently not. Bob, I wanted to ask you to give us just a quick update on working smarter for Mac users.
Well, I'm going into semi-retirement later this year, and I'm going to offer the course for a little while longer at a really reduced rate, and then I'm going to close down new enrollments and just kind of end it because it's time. I would either have to redo the whole course on the book because it was done with High Sierra, so it's like four operating systems old already. So from now until, I guess, till Big Sur comes out, you can go to the website and get the course and the book for $20. And after that wears out, it'll be sunsetted. That's what they call it. I'm going to sunset it.
Okay.
So it was a great thing. I mean, I was very happy to become a self-publisher. I was happy to do all my own marketing and only have to do what I felt was the right thing and not anything I didn't feel was right. But at this point, I'm getting to the point where I just don't want to work that much, and doing all of that again, doing the book again and the course again would mean 5 more years of really working hard. And I'm just not up for it. I'm going to take it easy. So I'm going to shut that down. I'm going to keep writing columns and books and stuff like that because I don't think I can stop. But as far as, the stuff that's really hard work that I had to do myself, I'm trying to ease my way out by the end of the year. So that's where that's at.
I hope that means that you won't be stepping down from your podcasting duties here.
No. Or okay. Books or columns. It's just that particular part of the Dr. Mac enterprise is going to be sunsetted because it's a lot of work. And, I helped a lot of people with that. Thousands of people read the book or took the course, and most of them had nice things to say. It's got like 4.9 out of 5-star average rating after 3 years. And so, I feel really good about it, but I'm going to end it on a high note. I don't want to force myself to redo all the video, 5 hours of video, and then go market it for another 3 years. It'll be better. It'll be better to ride off into the sunset and say, I did that. It was great. It was fun. People learned stuff.
Sorry for that little delay. Just to prove, though, Bob, that it works. Yep. It really does.
Every day, man. Every day.
It really does. So,
every day.
Folks, if go visit workingsmarter for MacUsers.com, check out the Bob? What do you call it? The super plan?
The super plan, you can download that for free. It's I call it the super plan productivity planning worksheet. 1 a day.
Yeah, and if you listen to what Bob says, it really will help you at the very least get organized and get a few things done. So
especially if you have ADHD.
I'll check it out.
Thank you. Right on cue, Brittany. Good for you.
That was a double plug.
Guys, thank you so much for showing up. I am really, really sorry about the technical problems. And folks, to you out there who are watching this after the fact, we're really sorry about that. We're going to go back and see what's going on. I don't know if it's Zoom's fault. I don't know if it's Facebook's fault. Might even be my fault, but I don't think so. So we'll figure that out. But I want to go around the room and make sure that folks know where they can find everyone that's been here, because there have been a lot of great comments, and I want to make sure you know about all these people. Bob, you're the man. Let's start with you.
WorkingsmarterForMacUsers.com. That's where everything lives.
Great. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for being patient with us.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
David?
Yes. Oh.
Yes. That was your cue, David, and you blew.
I was waiting for you to finish your sentence.
You could work on your audition, David.
Yeah.
Take 2. Thank you for having me, and you can find me at In Touch with iOS at intouchios.com with my co-host Warren Sklar here, who's with us tonight. So, and Dave G65 on Twitter.
Great. Thanks so much, David.
Thanks.
Minus 2 points on the co-host audition. Frank, how about you?
Funny you should mention it. Today came out the new September edition of Screencast Online, which my review is in there, my monthly review. I can be found on Twitter at @fpetrie, And, I'm sort of working on rebuilding my website, and I'm not quite sure how you find me on Instagram. So basically just type in Frank Petrie and see if you can find something.
On Frank on Instagram, you're Frankie, Phra.
Is it Frankie? I wasn't sure of that. Somebody had told me that, and I wasn't.
Yeah, I'll send you a bill. I'll send you a bill for the
but I did a long time. I just take the pictures now and I put pictures up in stupid little lines. That's all.
Thanks so much for being here, Frank. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Brittany?
My website is conquer.consulting if you're interested in my other random stuff. And just to connect, I'm the ADD Liberator on Twitter.
Great. Thanks so much for coming. It's great to have you.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely not last but not least. Boy, it's been a rough night, folks. Last but not least, Mr. Warren Sklar. Warren, where do the folks find you?
Like I always say, don't worry about finding me. Doesn't matter. I always appreciate talking to you guys. And Dr. Bob, I came to talk to you. I like what you say, and I appreciate being here. If you do want to hang out, I like Facebook. I hang out on Facebook. I administer a couple pages, but mainly one's called Mac to the Future, MAC to the Future. It's a really good Apple discussion group that we have, and it's fun. We go easy on most people, and if you're not into Facebook, I get it.
Yeah, after tonight, I get it too. Yeah,
there you go.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This should have been Mac Voices Live. Instead, it just ended up being a Mac Voices recorded panel discussion. We will be back hopefully next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with another guest and another panel, and we will do it all again, I hope.
Live.
Until then, live. Yeah, hopefully live. Hopefully live. Until then, and as always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.
I went home with a waitress the way I always do. How was I to know she was with the Russians too? Ha! I was gambling in Havana. I took a little risk. Send lawyers, guns, and money. Dad, get me out of this. I'm bored.
Bob's going to play us some music.
I'm going to play some Warren Zevon.
Bob's the house band. Do it.
Okay.
I went home with a waitress the way I always do. How was I to know she was with the Russians too? I was gambling in Havana. Chuck, tell me anytime you need to start the show or something.
Yeah, I will. This is all being recorded, so we have it for posterity.
Warren
great.
Turning over in his grave. I was hiding in Havana, gambling in Havana. I took a little risk. Send lawyers, guns and money.
Dad, get me out of this. I'm the innocent bystander, but somehow I got